Hey guys, it's Anne here, and this is the long-awaited video on my microblading experience and the whole situation with my eyebrows. So we're going to go through quite a few things in this video. We're going to start off with what my eyebrows used to be like pre-microblading. We're going to look at my experience through the microblading, and it's going to be very photo heavy. I'm going to show lots of progress photos, and then life post microblading. I'm actually also going to show a little demo of how I pluck my eyebrows and how I fill them back in again, at least one of the methods that I use. And in this video, I do want to give a little shout out to RapidBrow, and we're going to see why that is. I didn't even realize this until I was reviewing the photos in terms of some differences from before and after. So let's just get straight into the pre-microblading eyebrows. And we're going to go way back. I'm going to show you some pictures from when I was a baby. Aren't I so cute? When I was 6 and when I was 15. So I've always had the sort of, I call them the worry eyebrows. They've always been a bit straight and kind of pointed up slightly. And my left eyebrow has always been higher than my right eyebrow. You can see this in all of these pictures. And I picked the picture from when I was 15 because that's when I did start wearing makeup, but I didn't actually do anything with my eyebrows at that point. That was pre-plucking, manipulating, or anything with my eyebrows. My mom had overplucked her eyebrows when she was younger, so she was always threatening me to never touch my eyebrows. So I didn't touch them until I was probably about 16, 17, and I started plucking. But again, I was really terrified to actually really do much with them. So my eyebrows have been pretty much the same shape for most of my life. So I apologize, these photos are a little scary and they're close up. I don't want to zoom out, they're even scarier. But this is my eyebrows before I got microblading done. This is about March 2016. Again, I do apologize, the quality of the photos are not the best. I had a Samsung S4 Mini as my phone up until the fall, up until September last year. So yeah, I had an old phone for a pretty long time, so the quality of my photos are not the best. But in this photo, again, you can see my eyebrows, they live on different floors, basically. And they're fairly sparse. They're not too bad, though. So now I'm going to talk about my microblading experience specifically. So I had been thinking about doing it for about 2 years prior to actually doing it. I think that's when it started becoming a bit more popular. I started seeing YouTube videos on it or blog posts on it, and obviously I had an issue with my eyebrows. So if there was something that I could do that could fix them, that also wasn't permanent, I was afraid of doing something permanent, particularly like eyebrow styles change over time. They are thinner, thicker. I don't do my eyebrows the exact same every day, sometimes just because I'm lazy, but I didn't want to go with something too permanent. So microblading seemed like the best choice. I had browsed around quite a bit and couldn't really figure out where to go. And then I did find a girl. I'm not going to mention her name or anything like that because I don't want I don't want people to reach out to her and think that she's, done a bad job or anything, because she didn't do a bad job. She did do a good job dealing with such a difficult situation, as you will see. She actually did a really good job, and she was lovely. She was so nice. She worked out of her home, and the one thing that should have been a bit of a caution for me was I did notice that most of the people that she worked on appeared to be of Asian descent. So again, that's a very different skin type, very different hair type, hair color, skin color, everything. So I think working on my situation was a huge challenge for her. And it definitely was, I'm glad I did it in the sense that I needed to go through that experience, but I'm going to say up front, I wouldn't do it again. And I haven't gone back. I did you do one session and then you do a touch up after. And I recommend doing the touch up because the touch up will make a difference. And I think there's some people now that, do it regularly, and you do need to go for touch ups if you do it regularly. So the process itself wasn't so bad. I have a tattoo, and I'm not gonna lie, for me, it hurt more than what other people say. I have very, very sensitive eyebrows. when I pluck my eyebrows, I sneeze, and it's really, really painful. I don't know why, especially my one eyebrow seems to have a lot more sensitivity than the other. So when she was doing the microblading, I was bleeding a lot, and she was quite surprised, actually. She said I was bleeding more than most people, which was a bit scary. The process was long too. I mean, I appreciate that it was long because she was taking her time. She was trying to be very careful. She was very sweet, very nice, lovely, patient when I had to take a break to sneeze because I sneezed quite a bit during the process. I'm trying to recall now. I think each session took a couple of hours. That sounds about right. So I got this done in September of 2016. So about 6 months after I took that photo of nothing on my eyebrows. And recommended again to do this in fall or winter because in summertime, especially in Canada, you're putting sunscreen on. Wintertime, probably not seeing the sun at all if you're like me. So you're not using a lot of sunscreen, you're not getting sand, things like that. So you don't want to do this like before you go on vacation. You definitely do not want to do this before a major event. If you're going to do this and you have a major event, give yourself, I would say, a month. It is healed within 1 or 2 weeks, but you want to wait about a month because that'll be a bit more natural. It'll be sort of in its normal state. There won't be any sort of peeling or scabbing at that point. So let's just get right into some photos so you can see what it looked like. So the first photo that I took is right after I had it done, like literally right after I had done. I went home and took a photo right away because I wanted to, document the process because, again, I was very curious to see how this looked, and it did look really, really well. She did a good job of evening up my eyebrows. Again, this eyebrow was, which eyebrow? This eyebrow is way lower than the other one, so she spent a lot of time trying to even them out. And again, it didn't look too scary. So this was the first day after the first session. Now, the day after, pictures make me laugh. Again, you're seeing this zoomed in. If you see it zoomed in, it looks hilarious. I look like Groucho Marx. Like, it is super intense. So again, if you're going to do this, try and do it on like a Thursday if you have Friday off work, or do it on a Friday so you're not having to go into work or do anything or see anybody for a few days, because if it's like mine, the second and third day after are a little intense. So day 3, it started to look a little bit normal, but you could definitely see the actual microblading lines. Again, that's why you do a first session and a second session. The first session, she's going to go in with some bigger strokes to do the main shape of the brow. And then in the second session, they can go back in and do some finer strokes and really refine the brow and make it look more natural. So day 4 was when it started to look normal again, and I could go out in public and not be too worried that people were staring at my eyebrows. So 1 week in, and this is where I started to notice something that was going to be problematic, and this is one of the reasons why I'm not keeping up with microblading, and it wasn't for me. So because this eyebrow is in a different plane than this eyebrow was basically all microbladed, whereas this one had microblading throughout the brows, but I still had hair. On this eyebrow, I basically had to shave. I didn't pluck it because I was afraid of plucking and I didn't want the hairs to not grow back. So what I was using was an eyebrow razor. I can insert a shot of what, it was a facial shaver, but I think you can use it. I used it on my eyebrows as well because, again, I was afraid to pluck the eyebrows. But the problem was, because I had no hair on this side really, other than a few sparse bits in here, and I had hair on this side, the shade of my eyebrows were different. And I was able to even it out with makeup in the morning, but I have one of those faces, and let's face it, I put makeup on 6, 7 in the morning, and I don't get home till 6, 7 at night. By that time, it's 12 hours later, my makeup is not as pristine as it was when I left the house. And for me, nothing stays on my skin. Like, my makeup wears very quickly. So this eyebrow was always like a couple of shades lighter than this one because the makeup was just gone, whereas this still had hair, and my hair is pretty dark. I probably could have bleached some of the hair on this side to make it a little lighter, and that might have evened it out. But again, the process of having to shave this eyebrow for the rest of my life just seemed just as difficult as drawing the eyebrow in. You know what I mean? Like it just didn't seem that beneficial. So this photo 9 days later, and I felt like this is when my eyebrows were looking good, and I did like the way they looked. The only thing again that I wasn't too thrilled with, and this was the again the girl that did it, I feel like she made my eyebrows too thick. I do like thicker eyebrows, but I think I like it on other people better than I like it on myself now that I see what it looks like. And that again is a bit of a learning curve. You just don't know until you see what it looks like. So this is a picture of 10 days later, and this really shows the difference between how my one eyebrow is just a completely different shade than the other eyebrow. I think I even had some makeup on at this point on my eyebrows. I had struggled so hard to try and get them to be even in tone. But as you can see in this picture, like they do look really good in terms of shape and where they're positioned. I did like the way it looked. So to sum up my microblading experience, it's a personal choice. If you really struggle with filling in your eyebrows and they're problematic and you're not afraid of a little bit of a pain, because it is pain to get it done, I think it is worth it if your face is suited to it. I think I just had too many complications that it just wasn't suitable for me. I had a lot of bleeding. So what happened when I had a lot of bleeding is I had a lot of scarring, and basically she had a hard time getting the pigment to stay even on my wonky eyebrow. And because my eyebrows are so different, that it was such a struggle to try and even them out, that it was almost counterproductive because I was doing just as much work to balance them out anyway. So it just wasn't worth it for me. I've had other people get microblading done and have had a great experience, and they like it and they've kept up with it. I've had other friends get it done as well, and they've been sort of ho-hum about it. They've decided they're not going to get it again either, but theirs turned out way better than mine did. And again, it's your facial structure, your eyebrow shape. I think if you have a good base structure and it's more to just sort of fill in and darken some sparse spots, you're going to have success with microblading. And again, if you don't have the weird sensitivity and peeling and scabbing and problems that I have, I mean, that's something you just don't know until you get it done. So now I'm going to show you some pictures. Of what my eyebrows look basically right now. These pictures are from January, and you can see how wonky my eyebrows are. And you can also see the remnants of the microblading. Now, that's still fading, and I think when you see the video where I'm plucking my eyebrows and filling them in, it's actually faded since January. So I'm hopeful that by end of this year that the microblading will be faded completely, because right now what I have to do is sort of cover that up so it doesn't look like I have dirty spots on my forehead. So the other thing that I'm going to do is going to compare this photo to my photo from March 2016, before I started using the RapidBrow, and I was surprised. This is actually showing a difference in my brow hairs. I feel like I have more brow hairs and they're darker and thicker. I wasn't sure that the RapidBrow was doing a whole lot other than just sort of darkening the individual hairs, but I think it's really filled in the hairs quite nicely. So I'm super impressed by that. So now we're just going to cut away to a video of me plucking my eyebrows and filling them in. Again, I use various methods of doing my eyebrows. Some days I use the Wonder Brow. Some days I use a brow gel and just a brow gel. Sometimes I use the brow gel with a brow pencil. Sometimes I just use a brow pencil. The most common method is what I'm doing in the video is a pomade with a pencil. And every once in a while I just don't do anything because I get annoyed. And then the last method that I do use is the pears soap method. And if you do want to see that or see some of the other variations of doing your brows, I can do a separate video on that. I just felt like it would be way too long of a video if I did it all in this video. So now off to some very close-ups of my eyebrows. So be forewarned, real life here. Okay, so we are super close into my eyebrows. Hopefully this looks okay. I'm in focus. You can see the remnants of my microblading on this eye specifically. And I mean, it doesn't look too bad now, and it is fading quite a bit. I'm pretty hopeful that this will be faded by the end of this calendar year. And I haven't plucked my eyebrows in about 3 or 4 weeks now, so you can see where my hair grows. It grows like all the way down in here. And I also have some hairs that I did pluck a hair because I had a hair like way out here recently. So what they do say is when you're shaping your eyebrows or plucking your eyebrows, there's sort of 3 measurements that you're supposed to look at, and all this is a little bit with a grain of salt as well, because you need to adjust for your face shape and whatever. So the first one is on the inside of your eye, and it should hit the outside of your nostril, I guess. But again, depending on how wide or narrow your nose is, that's going to vary. You just kind of want to make sure that this isn't too wide or too close together, and that's going to be a bit of a judgment call and a bit of a personal call too. So, and also for everyone, your eyebrows are where your eyebrows are, so you don't want to mess around with that too much. My eyebrows sit a little bit wider apart than other people's. So sometimes when I'm plucking my eyebrows, I will do a little line. I'm using a blue teal eyeliner right now, just so you can see the lines, but I usually use like a white or a beige one. So you can see like this eyebrow starts a little far over, and this one is pretty much right on. I usually don't pluck anything in between my eyebrows at all, to be honest. The other measurement is from the outside of your eye, so your iris, the color part, and sort of angled in the way. So that should be where your arch is typically. So that's going to be somewhere here on my eye, my non-existent hairs. And then same with this eye. It's going to be about somewhere here on this eye. And again, you can adjust that. I find for my eye shape, having the arch a little closer in is actually better for my eye shape than having the arch a little further out, even though naturally I want to put the arch further out. And then your last measurement is the tail of your eyebrow. It's supposed to be like a straight line from your nostril through the edge of your eye. So again, somewhere around here. And then on this side, it's going to be somewhere around here. And I think a lot of people, the tail is where you're missing hair, so that's why it's actually nice to try and draw that out a little bit. And that's why you'll see a lot of makeup artists or people that are really good at makeup tend to draw their eyebrow out a little longer, because that just really opens up the eye and elongates everything. So the tools that I use to do my eyebrows, I have to pluck them. There we go. So I have a little spoolie that I use to brush the hairs up. I use a pair of nail scissors to sort of trim. Sorry, this is real close and scary, sorry. I have a very, very tiny set of tweezers. I have used so many different tweezers, but I just really like this, and I think it came in like a little NYX, I want to say it was a NYX eyebrow kit. And then my other weapon of choice, because I sneeze a lot when I pluck my eyebrows. It sounds really stupid, but I think I have, especially on this side, I have a lot of nerve endings that are just super sensitive, and I sneeze, which caused a lot of problems with the microblading. So I use, oh, that's upside down. So I use the Baby Orajel on my eyebrows. I put that on my eyebrow, and it just helps. It helps a little. It's still, I still sneeze, but it does help a little. So when I do pluck, I really only remove the hair here. I rarely ever pluck anything up here, obviously, and I do have some hairs that sort of grow out here. So I don't pluck a whole lot. It's mostly just these hairs that sort of encroach on my eyelid. because my eyebrows are so low. I feel like I need to make sure that the hairs are not so close to my eyelid to help keep them lifted. So I'm not going to pluck my eyebrows on camera because, again, I sneeze like crazy, but I will come back and show you what they look like once they're plucked. Okay, so we're back, and this is the eyebrows all plucked and brushed. So as you can see, it's really only the underneath part that I pluck. I'll try and do a side by side so you can see what the difference looks like between the eyebrows. So now we're going to get into actually doing the eyebrows. I'm going to do my best to stay in focus for this. Okay, so the tools that I use to do my eyebrows, and I do my eyebrows in different ways at different times. And the most general way that I do it is I go in with the Anastasia pomade, and I have a Brow Gal brush that I use. It's a nice little angle brush. I like this brush. I feel like I have some others that might be even better. It's got a nice little spoolie on the end as well. And then I also, when I'm really feeling like having hopefully a good brow day, I do go in with the Anastasia brow pencil. I think this is in medium brown, which is a little, yeah, medium brown, which is a little dark for my hair color, but it does work with my eyebrow color. I probably will, if I repurchase it, go with a light brown or taupe though, because I think it's just a bit more universal for all the hair color changes that I do over time. And to clean up my brows, I either use the Age Rewind or the NARS concealer, and I use that with an angled brush again to just get nice and close into the eyebrows. So I will do my best to try and stay in frame while doing this, but I do apologize if I do go to focus or out of frame. Doing your eyebrows, as anyone knows, is a bit tricky. And I usually start with my crappy eyebrow first. Just saying. Which is my right one. Okay, sorry, just readjusted my seat here. So I'm going to probably speed up through this because it's going to take a while. Just bear with me and try and follow along. I just wanted to mention though that I do fill this one in higher than the actual eyebrow. So there they are, and as you can see, my one eyebrow is just lives in a higher plane than this eyebrow, but I do my best to try and fill this up a little bit higher, just to help even it out a little bit. So I will come back with my face done and we'll wrap this video up. So that's it. That's my brow experience in a nutshell. As I said, microblading is a personal choice. If you want to do it, there's my experience. There's lots of other people who have posted their experiences as well. I recommend going into a few places and talking to a few different people. It's definitely not cheap as well. It's going to be anywhere between $300 to I think $600 Canadian. I haven't looked at prices recently. So from my personal experience, I'm not going to get it done again. It was definitely something though that I needed to try, because I think if I hadn't done it, I would always be wondering, what if? And now I know, and again, it's not permanent. My eyebrow is coming back, the one that's wonky, which I'm happy about. I would rather have my slightly wonky, uneven eyebrows that I have to fill in every day than having to shave my eyebrow and still try and fill in that one wonky eyebrow every day. So I hope you liked this video and it was informative. If you did like it, give it a little thumbs up down below. That lets me know that it was useful and helpful to you. And if you do want to see videos from me in the future, I would love it if you would subscribe and stick around. Maybe we can make this work for a little while. Anyway, I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you again sometime soon.